Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still struggling around this key level of resistance in the short term, just after we saw the latest inflation numbers get released, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And the Bitcoin dominance is now starting to form some potential bearish price structure, pointing towards a possible altcoin season. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside the fact that Ethereum is starting to break out above very important resistance, but also flashing a possible warning signal we need to pay attention to, while the price of Chainlink is doing the same in the short term, flashing a possible short-term warning signal. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, giving you a quick update in case you missed it, the CPI inflation rate came in at 2.4% year over year, which basically was very close to expectations. Of course, if you watched my last video here on the channel, you'll know that the expected number was 2.5%. So with 2.4% being the actual number, obviously that's very close to expectations, which is relatively neutral for the markets. And so obviously after this number got released a number of hours ago, we didn't really see any major move in the crypto market, because once again it was very close to expectations, and the expected number is what is already being priced into the market. And so with that being said, there's not much else to add here for the CPI inflation number. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin price charts today on the weekly time frame, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish trend, also known as a bull market. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, technically the weekly Bitcoin MACD has not really changed at all over the last one day, and so it's still looking more bullish than it is bearish. We've not confirmed any bearish crossover or anything, but with that being said, we're not necessarily seeing a massive resurgence in bullish momentum, so keep that in mind, but still more bullish than bearish. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, technically speaking, we still have a potential bearish divergence to watch out for, with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI. But the price of Bitcoin is getting very close to at least temporarily invalidating this bearish divergence, which means we'd have to reconfirm the bearish divergence again if the RSI is still sitting in lower highs. But ideally, in order to completely get rid of the chance of a bearish divergence forming here, we need to actually see a breakout in the RSI above this previous high in order to basically see higher highs in the RSI alongside higher highs in the price, meaning no divergence. And so obviously this is still a potential warning signal to pay attention to on the larger time frames. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, for now we're still finding a bit of resistance close to all-time highs, but of course when it comes to support, we have significant support in between around 101,000 to 102,000. So just above 100k, expect a lot of support around there, which obviously I've been saying since before we saw that bounce. And I would also expect some short-term support now at around 106 to 107,000 based on this previous resistance flipping into new support if we were to see a bit of a pullback. And clearly when it comes to the trend or the price structure on the daily time frame, technically we're still within a bullish trend, forming higher lows and higher highs. So at least for now, once again, we've not confirmed any trend reversal to actually confirm a new bearish trend, at least for now. And if we're taking a look at the 4-hour time frame, zooming into the shorter term, the price of Bitcoin is still struggling around this level of resistance, sitting at just above 110,000. And so obviously, as I've said recently here on the channel, that is still the short-term resistance to pay attention to at close to 110,000. But if we see a confirmed breakout above 110k, in that situation, expect some more resistance close towards all-time highs at close to 112,000, really just underneath 112,000. And as for short-term support, of course, we have just found support here based on previous resistance flipping into new support, sitting at basically just under 109,000, around 108.8k give or take. And below that, I would expect major support at around close to 107,000, basically at around 106.9k. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, looking at the shorter term here, we're actually starting to build some liquidity above the price of Bitcoin, sitting at close to 111,000. But keep in mind, it's still the early stages of building that liquidity. We don't necessarily have a clear level like what we saw a couple of days ago. Obviously, we had very clear levels of liquidity above the price, pointing towards more bullish price action coming next. But for now, we don't necessarily have that same clear defined level above the price of Bitcoin. But considering the fact that we have more liquidity building to the upside compared to what we have just below the price of Bitcoin in the short term, it is currently more likely that we're going to continue in the bullish direction than the the bearish direction. And so overall, especially when it comes to the trend for the price of Bitcoin, I'm still currently bullish. Just keep in mind, we are currently struggling around this short-term resistance level, but obviously once we can break through that resistance level, then we'll simply head up towards the next resistance. And then obviously once we break out above 112,000, we're looking at all-time highs. But if we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the weekly time frame, we're potentially seeing some early signs of some bearish price structure pointing towards an altcoin season. But just before talking about that, looking at my exact trading strategy for Bitcoin, currently I'm still long on the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, over the last one day, I've really made no new changes here. So of course, a couple of days ago now, 1 to 2 days ago, I did take some profits out of this long position as I shared in my last video here on the channel. But over the last one day, once again, no new changes here. My realized profit still around the same as what I shared in my last video. My stop loss still sitting at the same level as what I shared in my last video. And ultimately, the next change I'd likely make to this trade is potentially moving the stop loss a little bit further into profits if this trade moves further into profits. So for example, especially if we break out above all-time highs, then I'd likely continue to move this stop loss slightly further into profits so that in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashes for whatever reason, it'll hit the stop loss and close the trade automatically at that level. And the good thing about being in a long position right now, specifically for Bitcoin on 2bit, on the 2bit exchange, the funding rates are currently negative, which basically means I'm being paid to be in a long position. Even if the price just goes sideways, I'm actually earning some passive income, only a small amount, but I'm actually earning some fees while the funding rates are negative. Because in case you're new to all of this, when we have negative funding rates, the short positions pay extra funding fees, and they basically pay those fees to the long positions, and then vice versa. When the funding rates are positive, the long positions are paying funding fees to the short positions. And so for me, it simply makes sense to remain in this larger swing trade long position, especially considering the fact that the trend is technically still bullish here on the daily Bitcoin price chart. And so that is still my trading strategy for the price of Bitcoin. And of course, if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities, like what I'm doing right here to easily profit in the crypto market, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses. Like for example, up to $50,000 you can claim using the link below this video just by trading crypto. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can also get a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your 2bit account, but only if you use that link. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also BTNX as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video. And if you use that link, you can get some massive trading bonuses over here as well. Like for example, up to 45,000 USDT, and also deposit bonuses. Like for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you also get a $200 bonus over on your BTNX account. But once again, only if you use that link. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using the links below this video to take advantage of these deposit bonuses and trading bonuses here. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the weekly time frame, and like I was just saying earlier, we're potentially seeing the first signs of some bearish price structure. Now, I want to make this clear, we have not currently confirmed a bearish trend for the Bitcoin dominance on the weekly time frame. Obviously, we're just seeing some very early signs of that possibly happening, with potential lower highs starting to form in the Bitcoin dominance on the weekly time frame. And what I would watch out for next in order to further confirm a possible trend reversal for the Bitcoin dominance is a break below this low right here in the Bitcoin dominance. So if we see a break below roughly around 61.9%, especially with a weekly candle close below roughly 62%, in that situation, it's very likely we'll continue in a bit more of a bearish trend for the next few weeks or possibly months. And in case you're new to all of this, that does not necessarily mean it's bearish for Bitcoin or crypto. In fact, it's usually quite the opposite. Usually when the Bitcoin dominance is bearish like this, altcoins are having massive gains, also known as an altcoin season, because the Bitcoin dominance basically just shows how much market share Bitcoin has against the rest of the crypto market. So for example, right now it's sitting at close to 64% to the nearest percent, which means roughly 64% of the overall crypto market cap belongs to Bitcoin. And so for example, let's just say if Bitcoin pumps 10%, but the rest of the altcoins on average pump 20 to 30%, then the Bitcoin dominance would be bearish in that situation because the altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin and therefore taking market share from Bitcoin. And so the price of Bitcoin can go towards the upside even while the Bitcoin dominance is dumping, like what we saw, for example, in November 2024. Obviously, during November 2024, we saw a massive bullish move right here, as we could see post the US election, but the altcoin market in general were having much larger gains. A lot of the altcoins had some quite large gains during November 2024, which is why we saw a dump in the Bitcoin dominance. And so I will be keeping a close eye on this Bitcoin dominance in the coming days and weeks, and of course, keeping up to date on what's happening here with a possible altcoin season in these videos each day here on the channel. So obviously, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos where I will be sharing opportunities to potentially make a lot of money, as I did with this long position right here, and I will be doing with possible altcoins if we see a further dump in the Bitcoin dominance causing an altcoin season. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and as I recorded this video, Ethereum is currently breaking out towards the upside above this very important area of resistance, which was sitting in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. And technically speaking, we've just seen one daily candle close slightly above 2.8k, technically confirming the breakout, but ideally I'd like to see this daily candle close actually confirm in the green here to really see some more confirmation actually confirming this breakout above this resistance. But obviously, so far so good. As I've recorded in this video, we are trading above 2.8k, which means the price of ETH is obviously breaking through that resistance, which is obviously very bullish for the price of ETH. And the next major point of resistance to watch out for is at roughly around 3.2k to 3.3k, and above that, once we can break through that area, we have a technical price target at approximately 3.6k. And that price target at around 3.6k comes from a bullish flag pattern that has already formed and is now starting to break out, because obviously we already have a flagpole here, we already have the flag formed, and right now we're breaking out above this key point of resistance, starting to activate this bullish price target at around 3.6k. And as I've recorded this video, personally, I have not yet opened a new long position, but especially if we confirm this daily candle close above basically the previous daily candle close, if we confirm this daily candle in the green, personally, I'll start to potentially scale into a long position. And then let's just say, for example, if we see some sort of retest of this previous resistance and start finding support around there, I'd potentially use that sort of opportunity to add to a long position. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying I'll potentially add to a long position in that situation if that were to happen. But obviously, this is potentially a breakout trading opportunity, as I shared for Bitcoin over a month ago. Obviously, once we broke out above 88,000, that was a breakout trading opportunity, which I shared here on the channel with this long position that I opened at around 88,000, as you can see. And so if you missed this Bitcoin trade, this could be a potential opportunity here. But once again, at least in my situation, I'm just waiting for a little bit more confirmation to be more confident in this breakout. But as always, nothing that I say is personal financial advice because I don't know your personal financial situation. I'm just sharing potential trading strategies here, examples of profitable trading strategies that I've been using myself to make profits in the crypto market. And with that being said, we also have to be aware of a possible bearish divergence forming on the daily Ethereum price chart, because obviously the price of ETH has already confirmed higher highs in the daily candle closes, but the RSI is possibly forming lower highs in the daily Ethereum RSI here. So obviously that's a possible bearish divergence, but I want to make this clear, at least for now, this potential bearish divergence is not currently confirmed. And so it's just something to pay attention to in case it confirms. And in order to confirm this, by the way, we have to confirm the lower high in place in the RSI by seeing some sort of rejection like this. For example, if we see something like this in the coming days, then that would confirm the bearish divergence. But for now, it's not confirmed. And for example, if we continue the breakout towards the upside, that can pull the RSI further towards the upside. And if the RSI breaks out above the previous high, obviously there's no bearish divergence at all. And so overall, technically speaking, based on the current situation, the price of ETH is currently looking more bullish than it is bearish, as we are breaking out above very important resistance, and considering this possible bearish divergence is not currently confirmed. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, obviously Solana is playing out similar price action to what I've been saying throughout the video, especially for Ethereum, because usually Solana and most altcoins kind of move together with the rest of the crypto market. And so right now, obviously Solana is continuing that short-term bullish relief, that major bounce from this significant area of support, still sitting in between around 143 to 146, give or take. And I'd also expect some short-term support at roughly around 158, give or take, based on this previous resistance flipping into new support. And as for resistance to watch out for, the price of Solana, as I've recorded in this video, is running into this level of resistance based on previous support support flipping into new resistance, sitting at roughly around 167, give or take. But if we could see a breakout past that level, in that situation, I'd expect more resistance at close to 180 and also at around 184. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at that 8-hour Solana price chart, technically speaking, this bullish divergence is still currently active because we've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence. So for now, continue to expect a bit more of a bullish relief, or at the very least, a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence. And obviously, that's been perfectly playing out for the last half a week, almost a week now. But just keep in mind, of course, we are running into a bit of resistance at close to 167. So expect some struggle around that level on the price chart. But overall, we're technically looking more bullish than we are bearish, especially in the shorter term here, based on this bullish divergence. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for XRP. Obviously, in the immediate short term, we're continuing a bullish relief, bouncing from significant support at just above $2, around in between $2.05 to $2.10, give or take. We have major support right there, and we're also running into a bit of resistance sitting at just above 230, really in between around 235 to 236, give or take. We have a lot of resistance around there. And if the price of XRP breaks out above $2.35, give or take, in that situation, we have this level of resistance at around $2.44, and above that, we have more resistance at close to $2.60. And we're also still potentially playing out this double bottom pattern here, this W pattern. And while this is happening, obviously the price of XRP is also actively playing out a bullish divergence on the 8-hour time frame, as I've been saying every day since right here. And once again, like I've been saying since back down there, the price is most likely going to see a bit more of a bullish relief, or at the very least some choppy sideways price action. But basically a breakaway relief from all of the bearish price action is the most likely outcome here in the short term. And like I just said, for Solana on the 8-hour time frame, XRP has also not confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence, which means continue to expect this to play out at least for the coming days, just talking about the shorter term here. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, obviously it's a similar situation for Chainlink. We're continuing a short-term bounce from significant support, still sitting at roughly $12.80. So if we were to see a major rejection, expect a lot of support at $12.80, and I would also expect some support at roughly $14.20 based on previous resistance flipping into new support. And as for resistance to watch out for, the price of Chainlink, as I've recorded in this video, is on the very edge of confirming a breakout above this very important area of resistance, still sitting in between around $14.90 to $15.50. So as we could see right now, the price of Chainlink is very close to $15.50, very close to breaking out above that level. But technically, we've not yet actually confirmed the breakout above $15.50, so we're still waiting for confirmation here, which means there's still the possibility, still the risk that we could struggle around this level and see a possible rejection here. But if we can actually confirm a breakout with at least a daily candle close confirming well above $15.50 and ideally holding that as support, in that situation, we could find some short-term resistance at close to $16 and also some short-term resistance at around $16.80, give or take. But ultimately, the next significant point of resistance above $15.50 is really sitting at around $17.50 to $17.60. And so, like I explained in my last video, if we can properly confirm a breakout above $15.50, that will significantly increase the probability that the price of Chainlink will continue a bullish move up towards around $17.50 to $17.60. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 2-hour Chainlink price chart, we have to be aware that there is a possible bearish divergence forming just in the short term. Obviously, we have already confirmed higher highs in the price in the candle closes, and currently we are forming lower highs in the 2-hour Chainlink RSI. And now technically, as I recorded in this video, we've not yet actually confirmed this bearish divergence, but right now it is looking likely that this could confirm in the coming hours potentially. And so if this actually confirms, then it is quite likely that potentially over the next 1 or 2 days, we could see maybe a bit of a rejection and struggle around this resistance. So essentially a cool off from this short-term bullish relief. And so just keep this in mind, be aware of this bearish signal, a possible warning signal in the immediate short term, but also consider the fact that this is only on the 2-hour time frame. So even if this confirms and starts to play out over the next 1 or 2 days, it's not like this will play out over weeks or months, because we're only looking at the 2-hour time frame here. So we're only looking at the very short-term moves. But this can still potentially cause a slight pullback or struggle around this resistance in the coming days if this confirms in the coming minutes or hours. But once again, if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities in the price of any crypto, get set up ready to go using the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto like what I'm doing right here to easily profit in the crypto market, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.